let's talk Niners. You know them well. My favorite bet of the week was Minnesota at home getting points. I think Kevin O'Connell is, I said this last week, he's Kevin Stefanski before everybody realized how good Stefanski was dealing with all that Cleveland nonsense, and he just continues to put out good game plans. Again, they didn't ask a ton of Darnold. 17 of 26, 270 yards. He had 5 rushes. Fred Warner made a great play because he's Fred Warner on an interception. Like, that's not a great interception, but again, Fred, that wouldn't have been picked off by 95% of the linebackers
No,
in the league.
might be the
Um,
only guy.
but it was a great play. But what I looked at was the time of possession, 35 minutes to 25. Minnesota controlled the football. I mean, it could have been out if you take away the fumble by Minnesota and the great Fred Warner pick, John, this could have been a blowout. It could have been a bloodbath.
The Niners got worked. I mean, they
Worked.
got killed. That was, and he has one or two of these a year. I mean, it was a rough day for Kyle. Special teams, they had a punt blocked.
Yep.
Flores was taking him to the woodshed, getting free guys all over Purdy. Purdy had a bad pick, could have probably thrown another one.
Yeah.
Defensively, they had some errors, but the story of the game and one of the stories of the early year, Sam Darnold. I mean, that throw he made, the touchdown.
Oh, Jesus.
Justin Jefferson. I mean, is 70 yards in the air. I mean, you see the arm strength, but the accuracy. And you think back to the Fred Warner play. I think those are the plays early on in his career where he just kind of melts.
Yes.
And to me, whatever happened last year with Kyle, and they talked about it with Purdy, the maturation of just learning how to study, he just kind of feels like a different guy. And I think we have an example with Baker Mayfield. Some people mature at slower rates, whether it be football wise or personally, and physically his talent. Obviously, the touchdown to Jefferson is going to be all over social media. He made some other throws on third down that were just like, I mean, he was slicing it out. He was the better quarterback on the field today. He was awesome. And then there was another play, his second touchdown, while it was wide open. Those are plays maybe early on in his career. Maybe he airmails, maybe he freaks out. Like, he just feels very, very under control. And I didn't think the Vikings were going to be very good, even though I thought it would probably go pretty well for him. You start 2-0, all of a sudden, there's a path for you to get to 9, 10 wins. I mean, and that home field advantage, right? You'd have to say that Minnesota has one of the better ones in the league. And that's, like you said, that wasn't just a win. You're playing the Niners, who's coming off a short week. That was an ass kicking.
Ass kicking. I mean, if you don't get that fumble, and again, I mean, Fred Warner made a great pick, and a big hit causes a fumble, but this could have been a 3-touchdown blow.
The score does not reflect the game
at all. I mean, the time of possession is insane. And I also think it's funny with Darnold. You mentioned he's under control. What's interesting when I watch Sam, it feels like he sped his delivery up, yet he's more under control, if that makes any sense. So his feet aren't nervous, his body's great, but it feels like O'Connell, who was a quarterback in the league, the knock on him. What Steve Keim told me on Friday on FS1. I said, "Did you like Darnold coming out?" And he goes, I didn't really like him. I didn't like his mechanics. He was too slow. Totally fair criticism. And Sam's a playmaker like Mahomes. He's going to throw bad picks. All these guys that run around throw bad picks. I mean, Jesus, Mahomes has 2 or 3 terrible picks this year. I can live with that. But Sam also 5, 6 different times takes off. And what Sam's also done, I think he sped his delivery up a little bit. His feet are under control. But I think O'Connell gives him, and I've heard guys talk about this, Matt Hasselbeck talks about this. Sam looks like O'Connell gives him clear things, like he drops and he immediately is staring down a second later, staring down at a play. His head's not moving all over the place. I feel like he's really intentional. I guess that's the way to say it. Like, I don't feel like he's out of control. Even if he moves in the pocket, he feels in control.
Yeah, they mentioned this on the broadcast. He must have said to them that one thing he did last year and he's carried into this year is tying his feet with his upper body, because clearly that was really out of whack. And that's where you get you get to throw a lot of picks. Like, it's one thing Mahomes is brilliant at, despite him kind of moving all over the place. He can always set himself when he needs to make a throw. That's why he's pretty accurate going to his left, going to his right. And like you said, Sam is a playmaker because he has a massive arm. But one problem was early in his career, he couldn't hit layups.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure we'll talk about Anthony Richardson. If you can't do the basic stuff, you have no chance, because you're only going to hit the occasional sweet 60-yard bomb.
Right.
You have to hit 2nd and 7, the out route, hit the guy in stride to move the chains. And that's what Sam did all day today. And he did last week against the Giants. I mean, he looks like a really solid player who's going to start in this league for a while. I had the thought today, like, if he's going to play like this all year, I know you just invested in a player, but you just let this guy walk if he's going to play at this level. It's one thing to do it against the Giants. It's another thing to light up the 49ers like a Christmas tree. And so if he does this as the season goes on to the Lions, the Packers, I do. It's not just like you just let him walk. I mean, that's not usually the way the NFL works. You kind of deal with what you got and you just kind of ride it and figure it out later.